Hello, and thank you for joining us on Let's Talk DeKalb. I'm Diamond Lewis.
And I'm Aviva Hoffman.
We're glad you're here for this special edition dedicated to Holocaust remembrance. The Holocaust was more than 60 years ago, but for its survivors, their family, and their friends, it remains real and ever present. Holocaust refers to the period of extermination and persecution of millions of European Jews and millions of others by Nazi Germany from 1933 to 1945.
And in the years following the horrors of the Holocaust, a new Jewish tradition was created. A specific day each year is set aside to memorialize this dark period in recorded history. And DeKalb County government has officially marked Holocaust remembrance for many years now.
On this special edition of Let's Talk DeKalb, you'll hear from guests who have been directly impacted by the Holocaust. And Georgia House Representative Michelle Henson will also join us later on in the show.
And we'll be hearing from the president of the Ashford Alliance, Rabbi Scott Salson, who joins us for a faith and moral perspective. We'll be also talking to the executive director of the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust, Sylvia Wygoda, as she shares with us about her organization and how it helps teach the lessons of the Holocaust throughout this state.
But first, we take you to the Besser Holocaust Memorial Garden, where we speak to Mr. and Mrs. Besser and the former DeKalb County CEO, Leanna Levitan, about their family history and their special connection to the Holocaust Memorial Garden. For 84-year-old Abe Besser, the Holocaust is more than a chapter in history books. It's a period he lived through and survived.
At the beginning, we didn't talk about it. We opened up, with its time.
That's why it was important to Besser and his wife Marlene to donate their own money to make certain the Holocaust is forever documented with this Holocaust Memorial Garden at the Marcus Jewish Community Center in Dunwoody.
It is so important to me where we can leave a message to our children to carry on that this atrocity, what's done to our Jewish people, in others as well, shall never, never occur again. And that's my main goal, is to bring children and teach them to continue to carry the legacy of the Holocaust, which shall never, never be forgotten.
Featuring various aspects of Jewish life before, during, and after the Holocaust, the garden is now home to 9 sculptures specially designed by D. Clements of Loveland, Colorado.
After many trips to Loveland, they kept getting larger and larger, and then finally he took us to the plant where they're made, the foundry where they're made. Mm-hmm. And they're really beautiful. Everything is bronze. And all the stone, the walls and the flooring and the arch,
Jerusalem stone.
All Jerusalem stone. It all came from Israel.
The entire process took 3 years to complete, with the first 2 dedicated to planning.
That came like a jig puzzle. Every stone was numbered. Now this number matching this number matching this number. Everything was put together like a jig puzzle. Tons of it. Came from Jerusalem.
The garden served as a reminder of the Holocaust for more than 10,000 visitors last year alone. It also serves as a place of solace and unity for those actually impacted by the Holocaust. One such visitor is former DeKalb CEO Leanna Levitan, who tells us of her own trip to her native land of Austria and the many memories that trip brought about.
And the papers came, and my mother told the story that they had to get my father out in order for him to join us, because she wasn't going without him. And I went there with her. I had a big mouth in those days too. And I said, if you don't let my daddy out, I'm going to jump out of the window. And the Gestapo did let him out of the internment camp. So that's how we got out. And we spent the war years in London, in various places, because we got bombed out so many different times.
The second CEO in the history of the Chief Executive Office in DeKalb County, Levitan served from 1993 to 2000. She says her rise to success after her family immigrated to the United States speaks to the opportunity available through a united and supportive community.
We must all strive to be sure that America remains a free country without prejudice. It's unbelievable because people cannot envision the destruction that happened during that time. And by educating the general public, which this wonderful museum, and I call it a museum because it is, gives people the opportunity to remember, lest we forget.
The very fortitude to combat new discrimination she experienced as an elected official in DeKalb County resulted from Levitan's own life experiences.
I was the first woman to be a county commissioner, to be elected county commissioner. And I will never forget the first commission meeting. A gentleman came up and was talking about a zoning hearing, and he ended up saying, "Gentlemen, I need your vote." And I responded, "Oh, and you don't need mine." Because obviously, you know, it was a male world up until, let us say, I invaded things.
That's why Levitan says the Besser family's donation of the Holocaust Memorial Garden is so important, as the documentation of blatant discrimination and persecution of millions of people during the Holocaust serves as a shining reminder to future generations that triumph can and has overcome tragedy.
Mr. Besser has made a real success of his life in the real estate business and philanthropy, and what could be better to do something like this memorial. Every time I come here, I sort of get nostalgic, and I'm going to cry, because we must never forget where we came and how we came. That's, to me, is so very, very important.
For Abe Besser, the Holocaust Memorial Garden is a dream realized. It's a dream which stands as a reminder of his life prior to his immigration to the United States in the early 1950s, and it's a dream he shared with everyone.
It's a wonderful thing for the community to come here, and everyone, it's open to the community and everyone's invited, and it's so important that we all gather to remember, whether we have someone that died in the Holocaust or not.
This is a time for reflection and giving honor to the people that have come here, that have done so much to make this country what it is. I mean, if you go back over the years, people came to this country because they wanted freedom. And I'm very privileged to be working now with people of all nationalities and of all religions. But I think we must never forget the millions and millions of people that were annihilated during that Holocaust. And we have got to tell our children this story so that it won't be forgotten.
What a beautiful and peaceful memorial garden, and anyone can visit. If you're not a member of the Marcus Jewish Community Center of Atlanta, you can still visit the Besser Holocaust Memorial Garden.
That's right, Diamond. It's open Monday through Thursday, 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., and on Fridays, 5:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 8 to 8. Now stay with us for this special edition of Let's Talk DeKalb. Up next is Sylvia Wagoda with the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust.